how intense this has gotten. I am shocked that finally there's this flack going around with disc locked content. Finally, it seems like people are getting their heads out of their asses, and I will explain. Capcom, for a long time now, has been known, I should say notorious, for locking their content on the disc and forcing you to unlock it with monetary compensation. Basically, you pay them to unlock the content already on the disc, the product which you technically own, especially if you bought it new. My point being, they have been doing this since Resident Evil 5. Or was it Gold Edition? It was one of those two, definitely. They did this with Marvel vs. Capcom 3. They locked 2 characters on the disc, and I bought that game. I didn't really know what to expect in terms of any negative business practices, but I'll get to that in a minute. It turns out that 12 characters, everyone should already know this by now, 12 characters that were originally exclusive for the PlayStation Vita are locked on the disc of both the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 version of Street Fighter X Tekken. They're in there. Elena, Cody, Guy, Christy, I'm not sure about what the other ones are. I should probably I won't read the name wrong. I'll just tell you that much right now. All those characters are already on the disc, and this is exactly what I have been waiting for. All these people that have been bashing Mega Man, that have been saying that Street Fighter is the face of Capcom, bitches. These people, some of these, and there's going to be a negative connotation or a negative context when I use this word, but there's fanboys of Capcom always willing to defend them. Some who hate Mega Man just because they don't like the way the Mega Man fanbase has been acting. But it's not just that. There's also fanboys that seem to take a sort of pride in defending Capcom, or should I say Crapcom at this point. Those fanboys don't even take the minute to absorb that they're being screwed as well. I've been saying this since last year in the summer, when all those re-releases came out. Dead Rising 2, Off the Record, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, another Street Fighter, Arcade Edition, and more. All those digital re-releases and whatnot, the Final Fight DRM fiasco, all that shit. My point being that this is nearly indefensible to the fanboys. This has to be. This cannot be defended. In fact, in terms of anyone being a Capcom fan at all, doesn't matter what series you like, well, in this case, one series in particular. That's right. I'm going to highlight it for you. Devil May Cry. The original director of Devil May Cry has even come out and said that it sounds more like a scam if game content is intentionally withheld to squeeze more money out of a product. This is Hideki Kamiya's Twitter, guys. I told you. Usually the person who sounds paranoid is the one that always ends up right in the end. Now, this is a response video to Masterboris86x, BlackBusterCritic, right now known as Blackbuster TV, and let me see, Zobe, yeah, Z-O-B-E, Zobe70, just because I liked all 3 of their videos about this. And Master Boris, I'm really sorry that your videos got taken down, and you got a copyright strike. YouTube is just fucking broken as fuck. Yeah, and yeah, I hope I spelled your name right, Zobe. Anyway, yes, it's true. And this has been my problem with Capcom and their defenders as of late. And I'm not harping on Maximilian. It's what I want to go into. I understand that despite several controversies that can make themselves known, there are people that just want to play the game and have fun. There are some that just want to pay top dollar and to just enjoy something positive. They may have personal problems, or they may have a boring life. There's people that just want to have fun, that don't want to talk about politics. I make this stuff known to my to my friends off the computer as well. I tell them these things, and it most certainly can be applied here. The people who I've spoken with again and again, who have either argued with me peacefully or have been total dicks, even after all of that, there must be something out of this now. There must be something that people finally understand. This, I mean, not just because the word scam is on this article, but this is what I've been saying all along. More people need to get up and take notice. As a customer, you know what? That's the only word I want to describe it myself with. I don't need any other synonyms or other nouns. I just need to tell you guys, as a customer, a paying customer of a product, a company should not be treating me like this. In fact, I can equate the mistakes Capcom is making to I guess, a car dealer. You do know how car dealers work. Some of them do try to talk you into a little more money than what this said vehicle may actually be worth, or going to a dentist to get a second opinion sometimes. Sometimes one dentist will tell you that you may have gingivitis, or one will not notice that the cavities inside your teeth are really just Oreos. Yeah. Some people are actually have their degrees, and some dentists have actually made those mistakes. But I don't want to digress too far. I just want to tell you guys, this is what I've been talking about the whole time. I want to get to the argument that people made when, not only after two characters were locked on the disc, Jill and Shuma, for Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but when Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out. What did people say on the pro side of Capcom? Oh, I'm going to spend $40 because it's cheaper, because it's got 12 new characters in it. It would be much better than buying $5 per character separately. And then they made all the excuses about the tsunami, and I just want to tell you guys right now that they can't really pull that shit anymore, because I've heard excuse after excuse after excuse after irresponsible excuses from Capcom. My current point being that these people who said buy the game new for $40, you're getting a great deal. These people who told you not to pay separately for the DLCs or just to get that game in general are the same hypocritical fans. Hypocritical fanboys who are going to pay separately for these characters, who probably come up and say, "Oh, dude, I have 2 jobs. I've got plenty of money." What about those of us who don't? Is it my fault that this country is dry like alcohol is dry in the Middle East? Huh? It turns out that I'm not the only voice in the woods, and I'm pretty sure that anyone who's ever felt like a minority toward this, you're not alone either. And I have to applaud people like AlphaOmegaSin for always taking a stand against Capcom using his videos. I really do. I do wish he would talk about this, but I think he sort of has on all those multiple occasions with basically DLC portions not really being DLC. They're just pieces of the game originally intended to be there, but cut from the final product that you have to pay for later. He's done this. He's done this with Final Fantasy 13-2. It's more or less on that one, because they are forcing you to basically pay for either the ending of the game, well, pretty much the ending of the game, but you are paying for that ending, but they don't have any legitimate footage of the leaked ending. None of that has happened. But again, Capcom is notorious for this. They're really the worst, one of the worst known for this. I know that we have companies like Activision and EA. I totally get it. And I even made comments on Rachel's video about what I would want to see in a video game. I'm the one who wrote the comments that I don't want to see any day one passes, any online passes, any constant patch after patch after patch, because too much of that is being taken advantage of. And now we have this. Now I'm going to ask you fanboys, and I really should try to make clear that it's only being used in a negative connotation, negative context, where in terms of being a fanboy, you have this and this and this much amount of money. that could be used for paying bills, loans, car payments, etc., things like that. But instead, you don't mind popping $5 a character or any monetary trade, basically. Any trade that sounds like you're giving away more than you have to. I want to ask you guys this. What the hell are you guys thinking? What have you been thinking and imagining the whole time? That you have been getting your money's worth? Absolutely not. I mean, you may have been getting your money's worth with Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. I didn't really get any vibe or any other reception, any other form of reception at all that Arcade Edition was a ripoff or it was cut out of the game. No. No, I did not get that. It kind of felt like something extra. Originally, it wasn't even supposed to come to America. It was exclusive, but it was never locked on the disc. And I have to applaud Capcom for that. But that's just very minimal in terms of the rest of the universe here. How can you guys applaud or even begin to approve this? How? I just don't understand. I've actually been thinking over whether or not to make this video, but I've been hearing from Maximilian and all these people like nearly in a row just because of my subscription box. And I feel like I have to talk about this. I can't get this off my chest unless I do it right now. It's this kind of thing that upsets me. Every time Capcom... No, I should say that every time a gaming company pulls these controversial little moves, like with the online pass, we started seeing small tidbits like with Mortal Kombat, and I believe there was a SOCOM game, and with Mortal Kombat, it was the new one, Mortal Kombat 9. They utilized the online pass, and then after that, what did we start seeing? We started seeing other companies utilizing the online pass. We started seeing Resistance doing the same thing. Then we started getting news of Arkham City doing the same thing. We started pretty much seeing all of that, and finally until Sony says that all future PlayStation 3 games will be using the online pass. I heard over from one YouTube user, EventStatus, man, I gotta give you my props. I love what you do, and I understand why you're taking a break, but you know what? I feel like I'm inspired to get up and kind of speak like you would. Yeah. So yes, Hideki Kamiya says it's a scam. It won't be that much longer until other people, other developers and other staff start coming out and talking about this. Capcom's not the only guilty party. I've seen Activision and EA and all those other companies, and like I said, Sony is as guilty of it as the rest of them. Now, Capcom here attempts to explain why they made this decision to lock all 12 of these characters on the disc. I'm not going to go through this entire thing. If you guys want to read it, pause it, but I'm going to condense the explanation here. They basically said that by including these 12 characters on the game's disc, that the updates, the transfer, I believe, to your hard drive, your update would be much shorter, and without locking the characters on the disc, you wouldn't be able to see the costumes of your opponent if they bought this content and if you didn't. And you know what I say to that? Fuck that shit. I don't care. I don't need to see the costumes my opponent is wearing if it means locking not locking these characters on the disc anymore. I don't care. I don't need to know this reason. I prefer to go back to the days where Tatsunoko vs. Capcom had characters locked inside the game, but I could play as Mega Man or Roll, some of the Mega Man characters, to unlock Zero. I believe that's the way it's done. It was done. And the same could even extend to Frank West, who uses the Mega Man suit in that game. I still play TVC, and I wish the days were like that, where you got to unlock characters and you got to have fun doing it. That was your replay value. That was extending as much life as the game could do, and the developers themselves. This was back in an era where we didn't have downloadable content, where we didn't have online passes, patches, patches, any of that shit. We didn't need that stuff. Never at all. And now, in an era where everything is becoming downloadable, everything is becoming digital, or should I say most things, this is obviously the wrong path that the gaming industry has taken. And you know what my biggest grievance as of yet is It's the scores for Street Fighter X Tekken that everyone is giving away. All these 9s out of 10s, 8.5s out of 10s. I mean, I don't know what score IGN gave it, but it was definitely a good score. I swear, I have not come across one reviewer who has questioned, one quote professional unquote reviewer who has questioned anything about the game other than fans' earlier comments about the gem system. That's old news as far as I'm concerned, because the game's out now, and the people who did buy the game are enjoying it to no end. They're getting drunk with this shit, and you know what? I don't care. I don't need this game. I wanted to get it because of Mega Man and Pac-Man. I thought, you know what? Maybe I could invest in a Street Fighter game and make those two my team, even though I wouldn't be around with them very long since they're just in this game. But you know what? I can't even look at this game and say that anymore. It's just there's nothing. There's no. It was killed for me. You know what? I'm just gonna come out and say it. It was killed for me. I'm not happy about this, and none of you should be either. Not whether you're my subscribers, my friends, my contacts, any of that. Even my personal friends, if you're watching this video right now. You guys should not be happy for this. Even if you do have money. Think about the people who don't. What about them? They want to play the game too. Why are games priced at $60 anyway? Why should I just give in to the notion that if you can afford it, then you have nothing to complain about? What about my other friends, the people who can't afford it, the people who are busy paying loans, the people who have a lot of responsibilities in this fucking broke-back economy, I should say, or just broken economy? It's bent itself in so many places. I want to make a joke about it, but I can't. Everyone from off the computer and on the computer that I know is going through a hard time. And so am I. My point being is that with the world economy the way it is, this is the last thing we should be seeing. Shouldn't faith or at least a good reputation, a good previous record of making games be enough to warrant you wanting to buy this new game? Shouldn't you guys be able to trust the developer? Obviously, it sounds like they don't really care whether or not you trust them. But it was like I was saying a few minutes ago, I don't really care about this game anymore. The reason I am getting upset and discussing this, even though I'm not going to buy it, is there are some games I do want to make purchase of, and I've actually started weaning down on my Capcom purchases. I bought Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 used in protest of what they did when I bought the game new and trusted them. Seth Killian and Christian Svensson cheated me, and you know what? I was proud to cheat them out of their $40 sale. And to you people who agreed with me and stuck with me, I'm pretty glad that you guys have your dignity. And I'm not gonna completely harp on the people who chose to buy the game new. I can kind of understand it from two perspectives. Either you just want to have fun and you want to get it and you want to go out and meet with your friends and enjoy the GameStop midnight releases or any other place that has them. Hell, I was at a tournament yesterday with a copy of Street Fighter X Tekken being the winning prize. A copy of the game that wasn't even actually out yet, that they managed to get for free. My point on this being that this has gone way, 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 way too far. People aren't blowing this out of proportion. In fact, they were never blowing it up enough in the media. Every time I see reviews from Kotaku or Machinima, they never include any negative points about a game, going as far as complaining about the establishment of online passes, the locked content on the disc, which doesn't even extend to an online game. It also extends to offline content. We've seen this already. Check out EventStatus' videos and you'll know what I'm talking about. That guy is very informative when it comes to this stuff. Online passes can actually lock single-player offline content, and it can keep you from playing it. And there's some people that are still going to be okay with this. I just do not understand. I really don't. And there's also the day one patches. Why are we receiving all these constant day one patches? Aren't there people beta testing this shit? For Street Fighter X Tekken, were there people online at all? There should have been. It sounds like that ought to have been the case. They should test online games and make sure and look into what needs patching and what doesn't. The gaming industry needs to take a new turn, no matter what excuse someone gives me. I've had enough of this shit. And I hope people like Maximilian will discuss this, because I know he's heavily devoted to the games he plays. He loves them. I understand. Like, you enjoy it, and you can look past some of the controversy and maybe uproar. I don't really know him that much. I just know him based on the videos I've seen of him with the games he goes over with in terms of tutorials. And as for everyone else, people like Machinima, Kotaku, some of them need to wake up. They need to start keeping in touch with their fans. They've obviously lost touch with the people who are right to make complaints about these things. Take off points for doing these tactics. I hope that the gaming industry will turn around in a much better direction. I want my PS3, my Wii, I want the days of me playing these games to feel like it was back during the Genesis days, or the Dreamcast era, or the era of the PlayStation 1. I don't want this. I don't want to get into an uproar every time a new game comes out and we're always bitching and complaining. The reason everyone's bitching and moaning isn't just to bitch and moan. They're complaining about legitimate grounds. They're complaining with legitimate grounds about real aspects that people don't like. And I have to side with the fans who are complaining, and if there are fans who bought the game